Good afternoon, everyone. I am John Ryan of SportsMemo.com, and this is the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo TV and brought to you by the Predictive Playbook cast of shows. And as always, I have Ronald Cabang, my co-host and professional sports bettor, with me to break down Game 6 of the NBA Finals. And sadly, Ronald, first of all, welcome to the show, but sadly, this could be our last show till November.
Oh yeah, I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the sound of that. We've been running really great this season. We started off the year. Did we start? We didn't start right when the season started, right? We started a couple weeks after.
Yeah. It was closer to like the turn of the calendar.
Yeah, we went on a massive run in the beginning, and we just kind of held it all year long, and I'm really proud of that, to be honest.
I am too.
I really wish we did a better job of one thing that I like looking back to this season, just did a better job of recapping and saying, and providing that information, because every show people that catch on later in the season, they don't know what our record is, and it's been just a solid record all season long. I think we stayed above 60% throughout the whole year on this show specifically. That's one thing that I wish we did a little bit better, and hopefully we'll get that done next season.
Yeah. It was we were running.
We were in the 70s for a while.
Yep. And then our premium plays have done well too. Like, I'm hitting, what is it, 65% over my last 97.
That's amazing.
In the NBA. So,
yep.
I'm hoping that I'll be number one, and then that'll be next year's show with you being the number one from 2 years ago, last year, and then I'm number one this year. That'd be pretty cool.
Then it'll be a rubber match.
Yeah. Not to mention a good promotion for people to watch the show.
Yeah.
But we could go head to head like that for for sure. But we do have Game 6 coming on Thursday night, which is tomorrow night at 9:00 at the TD Garden in Boston. And, it's another elimination game for Boston. They've done well in those situations, but they haven't done well at home. We've documented that enough times. They're barely over 500 at home, yet on the road, they've done extraordinarily well for the entire playoff season.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like they were going to pull a Golden State Warriors there in Game 5. Coming back from that deficit at halftime, it was really like they switched roles. But you can't feel good if you're a Boston Celtic right now, knowing that Curry, for the first time in 233 NBA playoff games, did not make a 3-point shot. He was 0 for 9, and you lose by 10. Jeez. I mean, I would be scared to death tonight. Well, you can't be scared to death to play sports, obviously, but I would be very concerned.
Yeah.
That this is a game that Curry bounces back and solidifies the MVP, and it could possibly end tonight. I do have a $2 Tuesday still running for the 5%er I have in the NBA. So it's $2, and you get everything, and it will include the premium prop bets, which we'll segue right into that to get things started, Ronald, because I had Wiggins double in Game 4 at plus 500. Then the markets adjusted, and it was only plus 375. I almost didn't do it, but I did anyway. I also had Draymond Green as a double. Getting paid almost, I think it was like $425, Ronald, at BetMGM. I figured, what the heck?
Yeah.
Playing with house money now, and it's not like I want to put out 100 pizza bets because of that. It's just that it just seemed like the right spot. But then Draymond didn't score after scoring 8 in the first half, and he didn't have double in rebounds either. But I thought it was a good shot. But what do you think of Wiggins tonight? And before I turn it over to you, I do think, like, if you really took the definition of MVP, the biggest difference maker in this whole series has been the evolution of Wiggins, I think. Each game he has played with more and more confidence, and his stats are better. Back-to-back double-doubles now. That slam dunk in the fourth quarter was like watching Jimmy Butler. And he does, that intensity, he does remind me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
But do you think he does 3 in a row tonight?
I mean, it's very possible. I think that they found a winning formula here in the last two games with how they utilize Wiggins, and how he crashes the boards here. The other piece too is defensively, right? Without the perimeter defense of the rest of the team, Wiggins wouldn't be in the position to get these defensive rebounds as well. So it's not only just the rebounds, it's the whole team defense. I think one thing that we noticed, or that I've noticed, is the consistency offensively between the two teams here. Uh, Golden State. If we just look at Golden State and what they've done so far in this series, they have a high of 108, but a low of 100. If you look on the Boston side, they have a high of 120 in one game, and then a low of 88. There's just no consistency at all here. You just don't know what to expect. And to me, at this level in the finals, you need consistency, regardless of whether or not it comes directly from Curry or from the rest of the team. You know that you have support there. And we talked about it prior to the game. If Golden State is going to win, he's going to need support, and that's exactly what happened in Game 5. He got it from Clay, he got it from Wiggins. Peyton was a big surprise offensively, 6 for 8 from the field. And then Poole, he played only 14 minutes, scored 14 points.
Yep.
He brought a lot of energy when he was out there, and I think that's something that really pushed Golden State over the hump here in Game 5. It really is, to me. It's just that consistency, and if that's going to continue to happen, if that defense is going to be played the same way here in Boston, going from home to road, then Wiggins is going to be in position again to get a bunch of rebounds. So I could definitely see that happening once again.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's the other nightmare for the coaches of the Celtics to plan and strategize now that you've engaged a lot of the players on the Golden State Warriors. Even Iguodala, with an immense amount of rust on him, still contributed, and valuable minutes were eaten up by those guys. And Curry got enough rest, even though he wasn't shooting well. But his presence on the floor changes everything. Then,
yeah,
it's amazing. I did watch the rerun in the condensed version, like I always do, and I analyzed Tatum, and I try not to bash him too much. But there seems to be a growing consensus that it kind of agrees with me. But I did notice one thing. He's shooting 27%, as we know, from 2-point land, which most of those shots are in the paint.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. Now, he's been doing it the whole finals, but when he enters the paint, his head drops like this, and he can't pass at that point because you can't see a player if your head's down. You're taught to have your head up. So you have vision then. You have peripheral. You can see everything on the court. And, I wonder if we'll see some kind of change there, because I think if I see it, wouldn't the coaches see it too and say, you got to keep your head up in there, going through the lane?
Yeah.
But then again, the traffic is so tight from both teams at both ends of the court that, at the end of the day, you don't want to get hit in the head. You don't want to get your eye poked out. I get it. But at the same time, I think you got to, this is Game 6 now, and, they have to stop complaining to the refs. And Marcus Smart was just as bad as anybody else in that last game. It always seems like when it's not going their way, it's the complaining. And, Curry complains too, but at least he's running back on defense while he's yelling at the ref.
I noticed that. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah,
But,
I think one thing too with Tatum and what he's doing when he gets into the paint there, that's one thing that's really hard to adjust, because you're in the game, right? You're in the game, and if you've been doing it consistently throughout the season, it's something that you can't just turn off, because repetitiveness, right? You can't. It's something that you have to continually do, right? This is something he'll probably have to work on in the off season. This is not something that you could switch on and off in a series here. So I think there were maybe a couple of things that I've seen where just defensively that the Boston Celtics, the Golden State Warriors adjusted after the first 3 games to make Tatum less of a distributor, right? Because we talked about it. We said if Tatum's going to be a distributor and do it well, and the role players are able to hit their shots, that's what's going to propel Boston over the Warriors here, and that didn't happen. Either it's two things, right? It's the turnovers. It's also the fact that he was trying to purposefully get fouled, right, in specific situation, and you can kind of see it, especially early in the game. And I think the refs didn't call it because I think that what they were trying to do was send a message: we're not going to go for these flops and stuff like that. Obviously, they made and missed. They missed some calls, but at the same time, that you can kind of tell that was sort of the message they did in the beginning, and that kind of frustrated the teams.
Yep, and there's something that I look at. It's a pretty popular thing. We don't talk about it on the show much. This will be probably the first time we've ever mentioned it. But the 4 factors that are so important in analyzing the analytics of a basketball game: effective field goal percentage, turnover percentage, offensive rebound, and then free throws to field goals attempted ratio. And then, of course, you have offensive rating and then average points. But those first 4 are pretty important predictors. They're real good at analyzing if a team, and how they won. And the turnover percentage is so glaring. It's 14% for Boston of their possessions end up in a turnover. And that brings up another thing with the ball handlers. And again, I'm not trying to single out Tatum, but it's most evident with him that when he drives into the paint, it almost is like he has it predetermined in his mind he is passing the ball. So when that happens, he's barely in the paint, and he's still, the crowd has not swelled in the paint area. He still has time to look. His head is still up, but he gets rid of it very quickly. And as a result, that's why he had 4 assists last game, because he gives it to a player that isn't, cutting for the rim for a dunk or a layup or to get fouled. It's to a perimeter player who the only thing they could do is shoot a 3. Yeah. And I think that's another adjustment, in my humble opinion, that Boston needs to make, that someone has to, maybe it's Marcus Smart, has to get deep into the paint near the rim and then dish it off. And it could be a wide open 3, but somebody at that point is going to be wide open. They just have to find them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Shout out to Mitch, always being here and ready to share his information in the chat. I love that fact that you can come in almost every show, Mitch. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big shout out to everybody that helped us grow the way we did. Come to think of it, in case this is our last NBA show for the 21-22 season, even if the Golden State wins tonight, Ronald, it would be the end of our season too. But there's only one more game to go, so it's not
regardless
tonight. I mean,
tomorrow.
I'm sure we'll be together doing football in probably the near future. And I can't wait for those shows. They are enormous fun. Week after week after week. And this is too. It's just a different version of it. I think the reason I said that is because the popularity of football is so gigantic compared to everything else. And especially at that time of the year, everybody's into it. You have your leagues at your office for fantasy and the bragging rights with that, all the way to now legalization of sports betting.
Yeah.
So it's only going to grow and grow and grow. But thanks to everybody that did follow us, did subscribe, ring the bell, and took, made the effort to watch our shows. It means a lot to us. Which Mitch says the shirt looks good. He must be talking about me. But that's your logo, though, right?
Yeah. No, I did I'm doing like a pre-order of my shirt. So I have this shirt available here, and then I have some other designs available. So Mitch was one of the guys that grabbed the shirt. So he's probably excited to see it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Very nice.
But yeah, we should get to breaking down this game here.
Why don't
do you have any let's start with you. Do you have any looks on it?
I like the under. Some of the analytics are pointing towards the over, but I think the way this game is played out, and to your point, Golden State's been by far the more consistent team at both ends of the court. Kerr is now making the adjustments on the fly. It's not just at halftime. And the adjustment he made from the third to the fourth quarter, which kind of overlapped the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, It wasn't because the third quarter ended, but it was brilliant. I mean, maybe he should be the MVP because he is responsible for their success ultimately. If a coach gets fired when a team doesn't do well, why can't he be accountable for their success too? But it's psychologically, Ronald. I've always been fascinated with the simple reasoning of putting yourself in the Boston Celtic locker room. You certainly want to win this game big for the home fans, but then you have to go back out west, and where it's very tough to win. It just seems like it would be just a big mountain that possibly not going to be able to climb over. But I do like the under tonight. I think the as you said, the referees are letting them play. They're not going for the flops anymore, and I'm glad for that. And that also, I think, was going to lead to more intense defense, more intense pressure, more contested shots, and lower scores.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to guard Curry, apparently, because he has a hand in his face. He's making 51% now, even going 0 for 9 when he's contested. And when he's wide open, he's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just Mitch's question here: did Looney start second half? Looney did not start the second half. I don't think he started the game either. They made that adjustment to play small ball with Otto Porter, both to start the game and to start the third quarter. The other thing too, I mean, if this is our last show, John, we're going out with a bang because we're going on opposite sides here. I actually do like the over in this situation. I think from a side perspective, I think we talked about this too. I think we've been sort of saying this pretty much all series long that Golden State would probably win this series. I did mention Game 6 and the fact that I mentioned the fact that only 25% of the NBA Finals in history have gone 7 games. And I looked up some other things here. Since the 2014-2015 playoffs in the finals specifically, when the series is 3-2 heading into Game 6, the series has closed out 4 out of 5 times. And this is like the Golden State era here. The one game that didn't go, I believe, or actually, sorry, I don't think that series was 3-2, if I remember correctly. It might have been, but the Warriors 5-1 straight up, 5-1 against the spread, and 5-1 to the over since that year too, 2014-2015 playoffs in Game 6s. The only loss was against Cleveland in that 2015-2016 finals. And if you remember how that game started, it was like a 31-11 first quarter, and Golden State just couldn't come back from that. But they ended up losing by a large amount. But I mean, the second half and all that stuff, they actually stuck with them. It was really just an outlier first quarter, sort of like how there was an outlier in the first game here in that fourth quarter. But to me, a lot of things are pointing towards that over. Another thing to note too is the traveling from home to road and road to home for both of these teams. We talked about how Celtics kind of struggle at home, specifically when they go from a road game to a home game during these playoffs. 3-4 straight up, 2-5 against the spread, and 5-2 to the over. So another thing pointing to the over there. And on the Warriors side, going from home to road during these playoffs, 3-2 straight up, 2-3 against the spread, and 4-1 to the over. So the spread and the straight up numbers don't really line up with the fact that I like the Warriors here to win outright, but the over is still things that are trending in that direction. The number coming down a little bit is kind of scary because it's kind of saying, well, it's been going under all these times, but that kind of just gives us a little bit of a cushion here. Plus the fact that if the Warriors are up, the Celtics are probably going to be fouling towards the end of the game here. And if it's, so that's something else to consider as well with the over and this number being so low. So to me, I'm going to be on the opposite side here. I'm going to be looking towards the over.
Well, that's okay. You know why? Because we can both win simply by doing the in-game betting that I love to talk about. Mm-hmm. So if we're currently 210, I believe, on this total.
210.
So if you like the over, and you don't necessarily want to bet the full amount that you normally bet pre-flop. You don't have to. We always talk about this 50% pre-flop at 210, and then look for it would be 204.5 and then 201.5 for your other 25%. And then for me on the under, then it would be 210, 50%, and 215.5, 218.5. And suddenly you have a really juicy middle going on. And it is not out of question. It's not out of the realm of possibility that all those bets could get executed in tonight's game, because NBA is a volatile scoring game. You have great runs. You have where teams are just making everything under the sun, and then there's playing in the mud and everything in between. But when you see them playing in the mud, you want to bet the over. When you see them making everything under the sun, you want to lean towards betting that under. And having the plan before the game starts is key. That's been the number one thing to having the success that I've had in doing it. So maybe I'll write that down in a tweet after the show, and we'll see how much of that actually gets executed in the live in-game bet. And I wouldn't be surprised if you get one or two of those extra legs. I get one or two of those extra legs. And of course, as I just said, we could get both of them. And then we have one hell of a good middle. That would be 218.5 to 201.5. That's 17 points. That's half a quarter worth of points. It's just, even if it doesn't work out, Ronald, it's still a smart strategy.
It is. I mean, like we're going towards the end of the season here, and for a lot of us, it was a really profitable season. So whether you win or lose here, as long as you plan it out correctly and you're not kind of throwing units out there just because you're up on the season, just kind of play the game the way it is. But you always want to, regardless of what status this game is. The NBA Finals, you should bet it like you should any other game. Whatever units you use or bet size you have been doing all season long, it shouldn't be any bigger, because your confidence level should be basically the same throughout for every game, right? You only want to bet the games that you think will win, and if you do that, then your confidence level should be the same for every bet, which means your bet size should be the same. So just because it's game 6 of the NBA Finals doesn't mean you want to throw 10 units out there on a game because you feel like it's the last one of the season.
It's a great point. That's what people make the mistake in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's the biggest one. Yeah. Everyone, we only have 22 whatever weeks of the NFL. All right. Once you get into the Super Bowl, I think it's 22 weeks, right, including the playoffs. So if I remember correctly. But then once you get to the Super Bowl, that's one game left. People just throw, excessive amounts of money on it, thinking that, just because it's the last game, win or lose or whatever. But, people can do that if they want, but the smart way to do it is probably definitely not that way. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Agree.
So, yeah.
So I'm looking at doubles here as we wind down the show. Wiggins is only plus 195. I don't know if I like that anymore. I mean, it was plus 500 two games ago. It is almost basically 2-1. Draymond Green plus 400. Tatum plus 140. Maybe that is the play right there. That's almost there is no sure things in sports, but Tatum having 10 rebounds and 10 points, I got to think happens tonight.
Game's tomorrow.
What was that?
The game's tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I apologize. I'm just anxious.
It's all good. Here's a one an under, because like with props, a lot of people like to take the overs. Here's one under to mention is Marcus Smart, 5.5 assists under. He hasn't hit that in 5 straight games or throughout this whole series. It could be something that Golden State is doing defensively that is limiting him to do that. Or it could just be Tatum really, having the ball in his hands for a majority of the time more than he has all playoffs long. And Marcus Smart doesn't have the assist, opportunities as much as he has all playoffs long. So that's probably one thing, but he hasn't hit it in 5 straight games, at least for this whole series. So that's something that might continue.
What do you think of Klay Thompson over 2.5 assists plus 150? Probably doesn't happen, but that's pretty juicy. It's only 3
plus 150. Yeah.
He only needs 3. I mean, he doesn't
Yeah.
facilitate. We all know that, but
yeah, he doesn't have the ball in his hand to create. Usually it's like in his hands and it's up for a shot. I mean, it's tough. It's a low number and it's juiced to plus 150. I mean, it's nice if it hits, but it's something that doesn't happen often, if that makes sense.
yeah, I mean, pizza money bet, right? I'm still going to wake up tomorrow if I don't have a pizza because I lost that bet, but
yeah,
that just kind of stuck out to me. I'm probably not going to do it, but there's head-to-heads too. Steph Curry against Jayson Tatum in total points. Steph Curry's minus 135, Tatum's plus 110.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because of Tatum, but I would have to lean to the bounce back with Curry. It just seems like a prime moment for him to be center stage and just put up, another ridiculous amount of points. I wouldn't be surprised if he scores 40.
Yeah, there's some cleanup in the chat, John.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's Mitch. I think you were asking about the value of smart assist under is what I see right now is minus 125. So that's what I see. As Dot's having fun with it. That's funny. So yeah, I mean, Marcus Smart minus 125 on it. Pool over 12 points. That is a good look. I mean, he's been playing pretty well right now. And then I think one thing too is like if Golden State is up towards the end of this game, he's probably going to be in the lineup to close out. So that might be a good thing as well for Poole, at least for his points.
Yep.
And then what's another thing to look at here?
Well, I think too, if Boston's winning at the half, I'm going to be pretty tempted to consider Golden State at whatever the line is. It might even be plus. It's obviously going to be plus money if they're winning.
Yeah,
the Celtics are winning. So I think that that's a trend that's been in place here for a lot of the playoffs when the favorite is. No, I said that backwards, Ronald. Forget it. That didn't apply. But I would, if Boston is winning, and let's say they're covering the number, they're winning by more than 4. I would start leaning towards Golden State to do what they don't do best.
Mm-hmm. Another one to look at also is Mark. I mean, I think Marcus Smart really has been more of a scorer in his role now instead of a facilitator throughout the playoffs. So he's hit 15.5 points over is plus 110. He's gone over in 4 of his last 5 games on that. So if he can get plus money on 15.5, they're probably going to see him have to. If Jayson Tatum's going to be the distributor, Smart is probably going to be one of the guys that's sitting out there hitting the threes or sitting out there by the 3-point mark. And that kind of correlates with his 3-pointers, right? So his 15.5 is plus 110. His 2.5, 2.5 3-pointers is plus 120. And both of those have hit. Both of those have hit in 4 of his last 5. So that's one thing to note there with Marcus Smart. I think some of his stats are more telling than others. Another thing too is Curry, obviously he didn't hit a 3-pointer. I don't think we're going to see that once again. And you can see his 3-point mark is at 5.5 at plus 110. So that's something. Yeah. I mean, I know he hit 6 in 3 of the 5 games so far, I believe. Right. And he hit one.
BetMGM at 4.5 minus 115.
Minus 150. Oh, that's pretty good.
That's really looking juicy. I like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're buying into the bounce back, which he wouldn't be the greatest shooter of all time if he doesn't bounce back from bad games, bad shooting performances.
Mhm.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm betting it on.
Yep. And I feel like if they feel like this is a closeout game and they know that they're pretty confident in winning this game, I think Curry's going to be a big part of it to solidify his MVP.
Speaking of MVP, what if Curry struggles tonight and Wiggins goes off for let's give him a triple double. Let's give him a triple double in my scenario. Is it going to be harder to give the MVP then to Steph Curry?
Wait, who gets a triple double?
Wiggins.
Wiggins? He ain't getting a triple double.
Well, say he gets a
But I
third double double.
mean, yeah, I mean he could get his double double. I feel
Well,
like
he's not going to have the
double.
assist, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's not gonna get the assist. I don't think. At least I mean he could prove me wrong, but I mean.
Well, it's remote at best that he gets.
Yeah.
More likely that Draymond Green would get a triple double than Wiggins.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean more likely. Yeah, but then I think what Curry did in the first first few games is just to kind of carry the team right on his back. I think that really was enough. He could probably get a bad shooting night, but still score 20 points here. And get about 5 rebounds and like 6 assists. That's kind of like the stat line here. That would probably be the minimum for Curry in this closeout game. I feel like. I think regardless though, he's likely going to win the MVP race.
If you're a Celtics fan, I'm seeing Celtics win this game by 1 to 5 points plus 400. Is that a good hedge if you bet Celtics -4? I'm using it through my head. It just hit me that way. If it is a tight game and the Celtics squeeze by, but don't cover, you still get that prop bet win.
That's an interesting take. But that's saying that Boston wins because then you have like 3 ways to lose, right? Because if Golden State win, so that's interesting. Yeah, I guess you got to do the math. I can't do the quick math in my head, but I think it. I mean, if you think Boston's going to win, yeah, it's a good hedge. But if Celtics win, then you lose all your bets.
Yeah, well, if the Celtics win by more than 6.
I mean, sorry, Golden State. If Golden State wins, then you lose everything.
So. Yeah, so it would be if my math is right. Chat room can check me. If you bet $100, you could bet 90 Celtics -4, $10 more on Celtics win by 1 to 5. At 4 to 1, that $10 would be then $40. And if they would win by 5, you would win both sides, but that's only 1 point. And the probability of that happening is probably remote, but at least it hedges you from getting backdoored, perhaps. The Celtics still win, but, somebody shoots a 3 at the buzzer and it goes in to have the Warriors cover. I'm just
thinking out loud.
It seems like it would, like a ratio of 9 to 1, $90 on the spread and then $10 for this would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think if the math makes sense, I think that's actually pretty crazy. That's the whole thing about line shopping, right? Seeing every option that you have. There's ways where you can really just almost guarantee profit, or at least just get your money back, without risk. That's pretty cool to be able to see bets like that.
Yeah, they have everything under the sun, and not all of them are priced exactly right or to the book's favor. I mean, there are opportunities to, like, how many times did we take a dog this year and say sprinkle the money line? And that's kind of what this is. Except you're taking a favorite and you're able to sprinkle the money line, getting 4 to 1.
Yeah.
If Curry doesn't win, then the hate in the NBA world towards that guy. Yeah, well, I loved his shirt at that press conference, though, saying that his wife can cook.
Yeah.
Because you heard about that story, right? The Boston restaurant had a sign outside their restaurant saying that she couldn't cook.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Like if you think the Warriors are going to win the series, My lines might be different than yours, but correct series score, 4-2 Warriors is plus 120, and Warriors 4-3 is plus 115. So if you think either of those will hit, that's both plus money. That's a little extra money that you can have as well. Because if you just take Warriors to win the series, it's at like minus what 300 something. I think
Right.
370 is the last time I saw it. So that's another interesting way to go about it as well.
Yeah, and 81% of teams that have the 3-2 lead win the championship. And if it's minus 370, that's not quite high enough. That's actually leaning towards Boston to make it a 7-game series. It should be around minus 425 really to be at 81%.
Mm-hmm.
But one comment here for S. Warrior. What I would prefer to do is I would if Boston gets out to let's say a 15-point lead, I would take the Warriors. If the Warriors then get out to a 15-point lead and return the favor, I would go the other way. And you try to create that middle, and I think that's a better bet because the odds are in your favor that you're going to win one and lose one at least. You can't lose both. And that would be a good way to go instead of doing the prop bet, and it would pay off a lot better because your VIG is only going to be minus 115, minus 120.
Yeah.
That's how I would play. Maybe even 12 points. I'd have to look at the biggest leads for this finals, but there's been huge leads. And that brings to point two that Boston during the regular season had 20-point leads and lost. No lead is going to be safe tonight.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind going into the fourth quarter too. If Boston's up double digits, you got to take that pizza bet and put it on the Warriors, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
That has been the trends. I don't know how to call it.
Yeah, just historically, a lot of things are backing the Warriors here to close it out in 6. Not only just how the Warriors have done in game 6s of the playoffs, but just historically in the NBA Finals. We meant, like I said, we mentioned it in the beginning of this before the series even started. Only 25% of these NBA Finals hit the game 7. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I feel like Warriors are the side here, and if you like the Warriors, just like what Ralph said, right? Whoever you're just asking, you just want to bet who's going to win the game. So it might be a situation where you don't even need the +4. You just take the plus 145 or whatever it is that you have on your line.
Yeah, that's a great point. You like the Warriors, no question. You combination bet doing like $80 on the line, $20 money line.
Yeah,
if you're $100 better.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're suggesting.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. And I forget what that record is from Ralph Michaels, but it's mind blowing. If you identify the game.
Yeah, it's like I believe now it's like 73-0-2 for the team that wins. They cover the spread. In when the line is like 6 or less. So yeah, you're really. With the line being at 4 here, I don't think that we're gonna see the line going past 6. So that
it's gonna
whoever wins the game is gonna cover the spread regardless. So if you like Boston, you take the spread. If you like Golden State, you take the money line. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yep. Love it. Well, I guess it'll bring us to the end of the show, Ronald. And it could be the last one, but it's okay. We're not going to shed any tears here because we have more shows to do. We have Major League Baseball. That's at 3:00 today.
Yep.
I'm also going to have Manny's Irish Pub, which is a kind of a unique show that we started last year. Is kind of my little vision with creating a pub-like atmosphere where you've done your work day and you stop by the pub to meet your buddies and talk a little sports and sports betting, of course. And it includes Tony Finn, Rob Mejia, Rob Vino. Occasionally, I'm going to miss names, but occasionally Las Vegas Chris, who 2 years ago finished 2nd and 5th in the Circa contest, made about 7 figures on that little contest. He makes appearances. Marco D'Angelo appears.
Mhm.
Of course, my co-host here, Ronald Cabang. We have all the Sports Memo guys you see me with. If I forgot a name, I apologize. But I think if you follow these shows, those are the guys that will come on, and it's kind of like
Yep.
a big, gigantic roundtable discussion.
Mhm.
And it was just like 2 weeks ago. We had father and son, first time ever on the Manny's Pub Show, is Ralph Michaels and his
JM.
son Jeff, who's JM
Yeah.
Sports, and that was
Yeah.
really cool. That was
Yeah.
just fun just to hear them talk back and forth. It was great. So that'll be
Yeah.
a
He has.
fun one. And
Yeah, I mean, I think that was I think I tuned into that for a brief period of time because I remember watching that when they were together. That was I thought that was pretty awesome.
yeah,
To
it really is.
be able to learn from your dad like that, I think
Yep.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I consider Ralph a legend. North Coast sports and
Ah,
all the other
100%.
people
Yeah.
that he knows, and he's so well respected. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a tremendous resource and asset. So anyway, I guess that'll be it. Ron, you have anything going on special at Sports Memo that people need to know about?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have 4 WNBA plays today. So
Wow.
yeah, so we'll do that, and then I have one possibly one MLB play, but mainly I was really focusing on WNBA today or last night when I was capping, and I found some really good looks that I hope will be very profitable. So those are gonna be out pretty soon. My show, I wasn't gonna do a show here because my son is sick, but my wife is actually home, so she's gonna be able to take care of him. And so she was like, "Yeah, go ahead and do your show." So I'll be doing my show. Let's cap. I'm probably gonna go through some SDQL stuff that so some of the trends that we just talked about today. So that's pretty much what
Cool.
we're gonna do. I don't have a guest. I mean, John, if you're available, you want to join in and do it. It's going to be in like 40 minutes. It's up to you, but I'm just going to run through some SDQL stuff. It's going to be a quick show today. Just run through the NBA preview. So up to you.
I
But
actually
that's
might
what
be
we're
able
doing.
to do that. I have 3 o'clock baseball show, the full count show for Sports Memo. I'm doing a financial and sports betting show, I believe, with Steve Merrill in about 10 minutes, and we only go 20 or 30 minutes for that. So that would dovetail right into
Yeah.
the 2 o'clock for you. So yeah, let's play on that. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
All right,
Well,
man.
I'll see you on my show. I'll see you on my show then.
It's not the last show.
All right, let's get it done.
You got it. I'll sign off here with always the 2 things to remember, especially when it's these big time games. Don't reach for it. Don't go for it. It's not worth it. So bet with your head, not over it, and may all the wins be yours.